My name is Keen Umbehr. I'm the Libertarian candidate for governor. On November 4th, you'll have your choice of 3 candidates: a Libertarian, a Republican, and a Democrat. I'd like to explain what a Libertarian is. Libertarians believe that all laws should apply equally to everyone all the time. That's the 14th Amendment. Libertarians also believe in a limited, effective government. We need government, but it needs to be a limited government and it needs to be effective. Those are the 2 founding principles of libertarianism, and that's what I stand for. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I live in Alma, Kansas. That's between Topeka and Manhattan on I-70. I was in the trash business for 18 years. While we were in the trash business, we had a lawsuit that ended up at the United States Supreme Court, a First Amendment lawsuit, establishing the principle that independent contractors working for the government have the same First Amendment rights as government employees. It was a real important case, and it got me really interested in the law. And when my oldest son started attending college, I convinced my wife that we should start selling off some of our businesses and I'd go to college with my kids. So at age 40, I went to K-State with my sons and then went on to law school and earned a law degree at Washburn Law School in Topeka, Kansas. And I'm a criminal defense lawyer and family practice lawyer. I practice in the 4 counties surrounding Wabaunsee, and I really enjoy practicing law. I got into this race because of the governor's income tax plan. Before we talk about school district finance and jobs and the Kansas economy, we have to talk about the money. Currently, the governor's income tax plan allows 191,000 of us that run our own business. We get to pay 0 income tax. But if you're a W-2 wage earner, if you're an hourly worker, earn a payroll check from somebody, you have to pay all the income tax paid on wages in Kansas. Ask yourself, is that fair? There's 1.4 million payroll workers in Kansas, and 1.4 million wage earners in Kansas think that that is not fair. I advocate passing the Kansas Fair Tax. The Kansas Fair Tax is a piece of legislation that was introduced last year in the legislature. It repeals income tax for everyone: corporation tax, sales tax, financial institution tax, and a few other compensating use taxes. And in its place, institutes a 5.7% consumption tax on goods and services. It will provide all the money the state needs to run our schools, to run our courts, to run our corrections, and all the other 20 state agencies for which we fund it. It is a fair plan because it applies to everyone equally all the time. When 1.4 million wage earners are able to retain their taxes, their state income taxes, that will put $2.5 billion back into our Kansas economy. And when those business owners see that there's a greater demand for their goods and services that they sell, they will hire more employees. They will staff up to meet the demand. That's called trickle-up capitalism. It's been tried and proved for centuries. That's what got Kansas our start. That's what's going to pull us out of this economic slump. Now let's talk about school district finance. School district finance is the primary constitutional obligation that we have to our state. We are to provide a suitable education for our Kansas students. And that we must fund education as suitably as we can. Now, we all debate on what suitable is, but we have other responsibilities also. But I'm advocating for local control in all 286 school districts, that they have the local control that they need. The Bay State aid that you hear Mr. Brownback and Mr. Davis argue about back and forth, really, right now it's about $4,400. I am for freezing that at this stage in January because we have some serious budget problems that must be addressed before we can increase that aid. But really, even though that aid is going to be frozen at $4,400, it's the local school districts that decide how much to put in teacher salaries, how much to put in the classrooms, and that's never going to change, nor should it change. Each local school district needs to have the autonomy to do what it needs to do, within their school district. They know what's best for their school districts. I oppose Common Core. I'm not a Common Core supporter. I believe we need to defund it immediately. We need to to have Kansas kids educated by what we decide as a state is good for our students. I do not support the federalization of education. Kids in New York and kids in Los Angeles, they might have to learn different things. In Kansas, we want a high school diploma to mean something. On November 4th, when you go in the voting booth, you'll be asked a question, and I want you to ask yourself this question: is the governor's tax plan fair? Because that's where it starts. If you find it's not fair, I encourage you to vote for me. Key number. I hope to earn your trust and your vote. You can learn more about my positions on every topic you can imagine by visiting my website, www.keen4kansas.com. I have all my positions out there for you to look at and consider, and I thank you for your attention, and I thank you for your trust and your vote. Thank you.